Good, bad. I'm the guy with the mic.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Happy Sunday. Thank Cthulhu it's Sunday.
Don't mind me, I'm serving my chocolate milk today.
Hi, everybody. No, he doesn't get a talk, but he now gets a new thing. If he's been drinking enough, we get to have
Wow.
Wasn't that worth your time?
It totally worth our time.
Oh my god. So, oh yeah, that was what else I was going to put up. So hey folks, we've all been having kind of a rough week, and thought that, and I've noticed a lot of our people out there have been as well. It's been just a lot of pressure on people, a lot of things changing on people. We've had some people who have lost friends and relatives recently, and just overall kind of a really rough fucking week / 2 weeks or so. So if you're joining in, let us know. We're here to help support you. And we're all here because we also need to have this mental break of fucking A, it's been rough. So, yeah. As I start the show with that, how's everybody doing?
You pretty much summed it up, man. A lot. I mean, there's been excitement, there's been good things, but there's definitely been more tragedy and terrible things than good lately. So I've been trying to celebrate the good things, individually. But it's been tough, man. It's been tough.
Yeah. Jenny? Gal Friday?
I have come to the conclusion ants are the bane of my existence still. And training a puppy is hard.
Yes, it is. And hey, Tom Dog, it's going kind of blah today. We're all kind of bummed, kind of hanging in here and wanting to talk to anybody who. Well, I mean, if you're happy, we of course would like to talk to you as well. But if anybody's feeling down, hop on into the hanging out and coming to terms with our mental health as we're moving into fall and how it's changing people a little bit. Speaking of that, just to bring up real quick, because I realize not everybody knows what it is, but there is, it sounds kind of silly because you're going into fall and people get the SADS, but it stands for Seasonal Affective Disorder Syndrome. And so that's something it has a lot to do with the amount of vitamin D and the sunshine and stuff people get. But people get just really depressed, they get sluggish. I mean, the basic symptoms of depression come on, but this is more seasonal than always. But if you are somebody who has regular depression, you can also have this on top of it. It's just something where if you notice people getting down, hey man, it's a real problem. So don't blow people off because you're like, oh, you're just bummed because no, it's a real thing, know. And yes, it is caused because of the weather, but it actually they've now been able to chemically prove it or whatever. So, Del, your educational crow for the night, who has something to say about suicide sometimes.
Why Norwegian?
Oh, my tag refers to a post I made earlier this week that somebody was giving me shit about later in private messages. I was talking about how my brain keeps making me try to come up with like I have all these things I need to do and stories I need to write, yet my brain keeps inspiring me to write new jingles or songs for like the themes, like take one song and do a cover of it with totally different lyrics. And one of them was Wardruna, and my brain and I were fighting over it. And I was like, brain, I love the band. Like, I mean, I tattooed them. Shit. Sorry. And you can't see it. And I'm just going to make a picture of it so that people can see it. But I love Wardruna, but I can't speak Norwegian. And so my brain was yelling at me that I need to learn Norwegian so that I can do songs in Norwegian and therefore cover Wardruna songs for us. So this was that's just kind of a inside joke now between the person who was like teasing me and stuff about it. Like, make sure you learn Norwegian. Okay, I need to learn Norwegian. It's hard to pronounce some of the stuff that plant right on the back of my teeth. It's like this far from the very top of it. And there are a couple of sounds that you need to bounce your tongue off of, like the back of your tongue hits that part of your teeth. And mine has like this little extra bit of like super glue, basically, is kind of what it's like, holding my teeth together. They wouldn't fall out without it. It's just there to keep them straight and from drifting away because I've had other things pulled and stuff. But all of my dental history, yeah. So it gives me a little bit of an issue pronouncing some letters that are used more frequently in Norwegian than in English. So I'm trying. I know a couple of words, but I should probably start with the smaller ones instead of just trying to learn them all by listening to Wordruna.
Right.
Wordruna. It's an LRD kind of sound all at once, which is because the R's are kind of a blur.
Nice.
So yeah, good story, Del. Thanks for sharing. Everybody.
I enjoyed it.
I was just letting you go, man.
I mean, that my sister used to do that all the time. She's like, yeah, good story, thanks. That was awesome. I'm just like, thanks, yeah. So I just started doing it to myself. Hinata, my cat, she is so good at puking. But okay, all cats are good at puking. She is really good at finding something that is not the carpeting to puke on. Like I leave envelopes or plastic bags or something like from the grocery store laying on the ground, and she will walk up to them on purpose if she's going to yak and puke on that rather than on the carpet so that it's easier to clean up because she's a smart cat. Unfortunately, she didn't know the difference between a plastic bag and my tennis shoe. So I get to buy some new shoes. But she missed the carpet. So that was good, but she fully covered the tennis shoe.
Oh no.
That's not
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
No, at least they weren't. I don't buy like Air Jordans or anything though, so it wasn't a huge loss. But
I buy like $20 shoes at best from Walmart, and that's when I'm feeling like wasting money.
My problem is finding them in my size. I can't
Same.
buy women's shoes. I have to buy men's shoes.
And
Because
even
they
if I
don't
find
feel
it,
like size 13 is a good size to keep in women's shoes.
right. And then even if I find shoes that fit like long wise, I have to find the ones that are like extra wide.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm like an 8.5 in women's, I think. My favorite shoes I've ever owned besides Doc Martens were wrestling shoes. Like straight up old Adidas wrestling shoes back when I was in high school. We got them and we wore them as cheerleaders for the wrestling team. And they were badass, but otherwise I don't care for shoes that much. Like I don't like wearing them.
I have to. I can no longer go barefoot at all now. It's too painful.
I can't either.
Sucks.
I'm sorry.
Like even if I have to get up in the middle of the night and go to the bathroom, I've got to put like slip-on shoes or like flip-flops or something on to even like be able to go up the stairs. It's kind of a pain in the ass, man.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, Jenny, I totally cut you off there before.
I don't recommend falling out of a moving vehicle. You will mess up your ankle for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So
I'm
therefore,
getting
everything
older.
else. Yeah.
If you can avoid it, just avoid it.
Yeah.
Just don't get old.
I shall do my best. I've
It's too late for me, so I wish you all well.
I have done it once before, but well, it was more of a jump than a
Context, because I
fall.
was right after that. I said, "Don't get old," and you were like, "I've done that once before."
Okay.
So I wasn't sure which thing you were talking.
Well, I'm doing that one all the time, but yeah, no, I once jumped out of a moving vehicle. Don't do this at home, kids. You know, because it's incredibly stupid to do. But
knowing is half the battle.
Oh man, that cracks me.
Sorry, I'm gonna fuck with you guys all night with this because it's all I have to do. I found a site, folks.
I have a whole board of buttons. I can just, if we're gonna play that game.
That's my favorite. Come join us. We're all happy here.
Do
you hear the voices too?
That I had. That's a soundbite from Warhammer 40K, and I used to have the. This is way back, like over 20 years, almost 30 years ago. It might have actually been 30 years ago. At my mother's house, I had like one of the first computers, the big monitor, you know, and everything. And I had Warhammer 40K that I was playing. And you had, I found the place where you could go and get into like all the different sounds. Like back then, we didn't have these internets and stuff. So you had to like open, like, oh, I found this here. We were just getting the BBSs and stuff like that going on. And so I found the sounds and I made like, say hello to my little friend pop up, but it was the Warhammer 40K version of it whenever like a pop-up menu would happen and different things. And when it would go into sleeping mode, there were two-headed ogres and they would talk to each other. And my mom didn't know this, and it had like a half an hour shutdown time before it would do. I have no idea why I said it that way, but scared the living piss out of her one night, and she was sitting on the couch alone and like watching a movie or something, middle of the night, all of a sudden she hears people talking to each other in the next room, and she's like looking around for anything she can use as a weapon, you know, like comes up with like the fucking remote control or something, and is like, and it was the computer, and so she just unplugged it and was just like, change everything back, take away all the fucking noises, I'm not gonna have all those on there. I'm like, but they're fun. She's like, I thought I was being robbed. Sorry, Mom.
Nice.
And I look back, I'm like, I'm her age now, or what, about the same age, and it's like, nah, that wouldn't have fucked with me. But you know,
Yeah, but there's also a different generational idea behind you versus her.
yeah. Well, and now like her Google and her Alexa talk to each other. She just got rid of the Google one because she liked Alexa more, but that still kind of freaks her out just a little bit. And I get it because I've been there too. And when it does happen, it's just kind of like, well, that's mildly disturbing. There was no sound at all really going on in the room, and they both decide to talk at the same time.
Nice.
But
I did want to talk about something I'm kind of happy about. Well, no, I'm very happy about it. This is a friend of mine, Anthony. I love this guy. I talk about Keisha the Haunt all the time. This is her husband. He has a gaming channel, which I've actually been watching him do this on YouTube for a while, like last couple years probably. And I just want to put his logo up real quick because he gave me a magnet, and I've got the magnet, but like this is what it looks like. But it's in the car because I had to move it for some reason from down here, and I didn't realize I moved something else and it was in my pocket. I was emptying my pockets out and I'm dumb. I'm also gonna put in the comments if I can make it work. Oh wow! Here we go. That's a link to his YouTube. Like he's a lot of fun. He plays a lot of mostly classic NES games. He's got a kind of a fun discourse. He gets irritated too sometimes when he's playing because he dies a lot, and I just find that absolutely fucking hilarious for some reason. So this is one of those little things that has been bringing me joy lately.
Did you only post it to the Facebook one, or did you post it with all?
Just to Facebook, because when I post it to all, what I notice is like things just like kind of fill up the chat. So I thought maybe I should just do the individual.
Give me a
Yeah,
minute.
but then
I'll get
nobody
it
on
in places.
Facebook or
You
Twitter
guys
can
both just talked
see-
at the same time, and I didn't hear either of you.
I said, give me a minute, and I'll have it posted on our Facebook as well.
I did from the Facebook.
Oh, I was saying though that if you post it with
All destinations.
with all, it also posts it up on YouTube and on Twitter. So we see it 3 times, but everybody
There
else
you go.
only sees it where they're at. So
Well, it's twice on YouTube because I couldn't fix it. So, or twice on Facebook.
that's fine.
But yeah, I wanted to mention that before I forgot it because he gave me that magnet today, and I was so excited with it. I get excited over stupid little things, man. Like just the littlest stuff. And, I don't know. It brought joy to my life that day, and these videos are a lot of fun.
I'm deleting the first comment. That way you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh,
Sweet.
it's there twice.
But
No,
yeah.
it's there once.
They're
So
all
hey,
short
guys.
videos too. Like they're short videos
check
broken
it
up
out.
into different parts if it's a longer game. So I mean, it's a lot of fun. The nostalgia of the games is also a lot of fun too.
Love playing old games. I started playing a new game and I have to stop because I had 2 totally lost myself in it moments, and it fortunately just came to a point where it's not fun for the next like few days, so I can just stop playing it and not be too caught up. And I started playing Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Oh yeah, that is a fun one.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's free to play. It has microtransactions, but you don't actually need to use them.
Yeah.
And you get Marvel Insider points for doing it, is why I started doing it. Like, because you get like 50,000 instead of 200,
Yeah.
you know? And so now I have an account there so I can play it if I need to get points and otherwise ignore it, because it's a color match game for you guys out there. And like, but the colors, depending on which comic book characters you have that you're playing, cause different things to happen. And they're, they do attacks and then they build up enough of this and they have a special attack that they do, or they just have passive things and they'll change stuff. But right now it's on the daily quest is on, or the story quest line is set only for alliances to be on, unless you want to do the super puzzle weird thing, and it's like, make an entire row of these kind of things. Well, you're trying to kill people while at the same time maintaining not eliminating these from the line, and it just gets really irritating. So it's like, okay, if I quit now, I won't, because I tried to hop on today and it's just not fun. So I can stop now. Well, it's no fun because I don't game to be social. I don't want to join a guild of people that they'll then have to talk to. I've got my friends. I've got you guys. I've got my family. I don't need to pick up another gaming family. Besides, they're all comic book nerds, and they're going to be like, what are you? You some girl? You trying to be a comic book nerd? I'm going to be like, well, yeah, but I don't know. Do you have Howard Mackey's personal email address? Didn't think so. Okay. Anyway, yeah. So play it if you enjoy it. It's fun. It's free. It's one of those things. Raz is on mute. He's laughing at me. Can't hear him
I
at
was
all.
totally laughing at you. Yeah. There's also coffee. I don't want to kill you guys.
Oh, I do that too.
It's the haunt crud, man. I always feel like absolute garbage the day after. Well, you feel like garbage the day after, but then you got to do it again. So it's really the day after the weekend. It's always Sunday where you want to die inside. Which sucks because like there's going to be some things that I'm going to have to do on some Sundays coming up soon.
Oh God. Okay, that reminded me. Gonna go depression here again. Uh, Robert McFarlane is a fabulous author. He's the reason I know the word amil, which is the ice when you have like when it started off the day with a big frost, and then the sun comes out and it melts a little bit, and then it refreezes over, and you have all those glorious like blades of grass and branches on trees where they're coated in the light from the sun with it just looks like they're coated with glass. And it's so beautiful. And it's an old Devon term, and it's basically from the term enamel, but they have it's amil. I believe it's Amill. And he writes all these books about like hiking, and all these different paths and footpaths and stuff around the world that he's taken. And he like travels and meets all these awesome people who will take him on these legendary hikes. And he did one for waterways, and he's done stuff for preserving languages. And he did one called Underworlds. And I just started listening to it. I like to listen to his stuff as I go to bed at night because I'm like hearing a little adventure. And this is all about caves. And I was like, oh, yeah, we're getting ready to. By the way, we're going to be doing some stuff with caves in the near future here. And so the first chapter was on burial, and you know how a lot of caves and cave systems and uh, what are they beers? No, it's anyway. I can't remember words. It's been a rough week, guys. Uh, but they're all set up for burials, and so I was like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. And I like big caves. I think big caves are cool. I like going in them, but I'm claustrophobic. And he ends up starting to talk about going into some of these other caves that he'd been in, and it's like to get to this, you know, there's this huge open beautiful place, and then there's a waterfall, but to get to where you can actually be on the bottom of the waterfall because you can't go down it, you need to climb up into the air and then squeeze through a passage where you're on your face going through very slowly, you know, and like there is no room, like it's compressing your lungs to get through certain parts of it. And then you squeeze on out the other side, and there, bam, you're okay. And it's like, no, you're not okay because you never go there. You never go up there. And one of the things that, because it was about burial, one of the stories he told was about this famous cave in the UK, I believe, where some guy who was just a super tall string bean of a guy was sent to be the first person to go through this passageway that they knew what it opened up into, but they'd never gotten a whole crew going there before. And he got down, and some of the rocks fell on his feet, trapped him in there. He was like 40 feet down, and it was a narrow passage, and they tried, like, he'd had a ladder, but it got jammed to the side, and then his arms were getting squished to himself slowly, and they were lowering a rope. They didn't have a strong enough rope, so it broke over and over and over when they were trying to send it to him. They'd called out like emergency services and any of the other local cavers, and they were showing up, and like people were passing out he was passing out because it was so narrow and so tall that he'd used all of the good air that was near him. And 3 people passed out trying to get down to him, even though they were lowering oxygen canisters and stuff with it too. They just could not keep people going. And like they had one last person who tried, and she got down, but they couldn't. He was unsavable, and they couldn't get anything tied around him because enough of the wall had fallen onto him. And so then his father, who'd been there the whole time, asked, since so that nobody else would have to be endangered getting to him, and so that he wouldn't just be this weird part of the trip, if they could they ended up burying him there in cement. And now the cave has been kind of renamed after him, or that section of it has. But it's like, well, that's a great way to start a book.
Yes.
You should go into horror, because I am terrified to sleep now. I'm going to have claustrophobic dreams, and That's because I have those where I'm like trying to crawl somewhere, and then you get to where you're like, oh God, I can't go forward anymore. And then you try to push, and it's like, but I can't go back. And you're just stuck.
stuck.
Oh yeah.
I hate that.
And you wake up and you nearly fall out of bed because you're freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the nightmares. Yay, the
Have you
nightmares.
tried From Here to Eternity by Caitlin Doughty?
No, I'm not.
Oh, she went to multiple different countries and looked at multiple different death practices and wrote about how what the good death means to multiple different societies and cultures around the world. And there was this one part where she went with her friend to a cave, being as she's like tall and like my size. She's like, nope, I'm not going any further. But he did. He went further, went down and checked in the cave, and it just scared her with the idea anyway. But she ended up on Instagram by random people finding this tall white girl in a cave, and they're like, okay, this is an Instagrammable moment. But yeah, that's what that story reminded me of. That idea, that and her finding like the caskets hanging off cliffs outside caves and stuff. And yeah, I recommend her book too for the different ideas of deaths she found.
You're gonna have to send that to me. Yeah,
Okay.
his are all gonna be about caves, so I'm gonna have to hope that not all of them involve. And then we crawled into another 1 foot by 2 foot space that lasted 30 yards, and I lost my mind on. I I
Wow.
get weird phobias, man. Like I've had this happen to me in real life and in my dreams. If a building is too tall and I just look up at
Yeah.
it, I get vertigo really
Mm.
bad.
Okay.
And so I've fallen to my knees in public because I've been in like a downtown situation somewhere where I just look up at a skyscraper and it literally takes my breath away and makes me dizzy and I'll collapse. But I do it in dreams too. I'll dream that I'm looking up so high at something and I'll just like collapse in the dream, which is kind of weird, but
No, it makes sense. But then again, you have given me odd dreams. You know how we were
you're
talking
welcome.
about the different places you go in your dreams. How in some places you go when you skate, or like one place is farther away from another, and you take like a train or whatever.
Mm.
So I decided to go to this one restaurant I'd been to when I was younger, and my brain just like hopped into a car, and it was like whoosh, 2 seconds, and we're there, and it's like from Texas to a whole nother state in seconds, and I'm having apple pie again and talking to that really wonderful waitress, and then next thing I know, I'm in like Georgia again, and at this really great restaurant having a burger, and it's like the ideas you gave my brain, and how this story, I want to know more about that one story you guys were talking about with all the people outside of the house looking at all the things that are happening in the haunted house and talking about it, and
We would
how
like to know more about
that,
it too.
yeah, because my brain is like, ooh, I want to add these two teachers from this one story that I'm doing,
Yeah.
because they just go places um and look at different haunted places and like document it.
Oh yeah. It's something that I miss doing a lot. And it's something with my friend Jason I live with have been talking about doing again on our YouTube channel. Actually, just getting back into like the creepy roads and the creepy buildings and just abandoned businesses and things like that. Something we did a lot in our youth and a lot just a few years ago, and we just kind of took a big break from it. It's a lot of fun, man. But thinking about caves, Anytime anybody mentions caves, all I can think about is that old school No Sleep / Geosite / story / movie, Ted the Caver. It's about this guy that literally excavates this cave and finds all this interesting stuff in it and gets a buddy to come and help him. And sure enough, they open this passage. They almost get stuck in and they finally make it to the other side. And there's creatures there that, yeah, I won't ruin it for you because there's a lot to it. And if you want to actually experience the story like reading it, man, there's like so many links and pictures and cool shit. And the movie's all right. Last time I watched it, it was still on Tubi. I'm not sure if it is now. But the movie's not near as good as the actual story. Not because, generally movies aren't as good as, the stories they're made from. But this one in particular, the budget was kind of low, but it was also a much older movie. So that probably had something to do with it. It was definitely indie.
1 second here.
Yeah, I was going to it so I could share it to our Facebook page. Because I found it.
Okay,
Okay.
there was this. I found one that. This was something that I read when I was in like junior high that you reminded me of. Through the Hidden Door by Rosemary Wells.
That's a good one.
I loved that when I was younger, and I still don't understand the ending. Like, I've tried to make sense of it, but I can't. But I don't want to spoil it for any readers because even at an adult age, I went back and reread it just a couple of years ago, and it's written for young adults, but it's not too talking down. Like for it doesn't dumb itself down, but it's about children in a boarding school. So that's about the age range that the characters are at, but there's actually just some really, really interesting shit in the way that they go about excavating the cave and doing all this stuff that they find these two kids, and it's glorious.
Nice.
It took me forever to find it too because I forgot the name, and I was like, boarding school kids cave book. And they'd be like, Google got nothing for you, hun.
Yeah, I was having that problem with the book I read when I was younger.
See, when you guys can't find these, give me the information. I'll find it. I've gotten it down to a science because so many times I've like tried to think about just random things. And I've gone through like insane lengths. Insane lengths.
Yeah. It is fun though when Google's just like, you should try these other sites in order to find your book because we can't. These books are, or these sites are designed to find your book.
There's I remember the greatest like trip that like, I don't know, I guess expedition. It was like a 3-year almost, or a 3-decade almost. No, about 2.5 decades of me trying to figure out like what this book was. Because all I remembered from when I was a kid was it was like 3 books. It was a trilogy. And it was about a haunted board game. It wasn't like a Jumanji type thing or nothing like. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of was, but they were like teen novels type thing. On there was your typical like little love story kind of going on. Main character was a female, but her and her friends had found this game. They played it. It became real. Everybody started dying. The main bad guy from the board game got out into the real world. It was just a brilliant book, like that just struck me so hard when I was a kid because my mom had read it first, and as she was finishing the series, I picked up the first book. I always read faster than her, so like by the time she was done, she only had to wait like I think a couple days for me to be caught up and done, and then we sat and talked about this book for weeks during one summer. Like something would happen, we just start talking about the book again, and then for years I could not figure out what the fuck it was, and again, like 2.5 decades later, I realized it was a series called The Forbidden Game by L.J. Smith. And it was nice to finally figure it out because then I picked them up. I still own them now, and I randomly would just read the shit out of them again and again. I'm going to read them again here soon, actually. But the weird thing is L.J. Smith also did other books that I was familiar with. Like I think one of the things she's most known for is probably Vampire Diaries and like Secret Circle and stuff like that. Like this was like way, before all that. But if you want a really cool series about a board game, definitely check out the Forbidden Game series.
Okay. Yeah, I will definitely do so. I'm quite interested. I like my horror. I got a couple new things to get through, but they're all good. I've been getting so much. I've been reading some of Raz's stuff that he's working on right now, and I've been reading some stuff by Rob Smales, who will be having back again
Nice.
fairly
I
soon
love
in
Rob.
October. Yep.
I love Raz's
Reading
new
some.
story.
Yeah, I'm reading somebody whose name I'm not going to mention yet because we haven't set up the exact date for them, but some more stuff from Weird House. We are big supporters of Weird House Press and Rough House Publishing over here. You can find their links on our website, by the way, because they are awesome and they have awesome authors working for them.
And let us not forget Fakor Publishing.
Well,
Of
I
course.
didn't.
Exactly.
Publishing, as you can tell.
Exactly. It's crazy. Like that we have like literally 3 different
I was doing
publishing
the
houses.
house ones.
Yeah, the houses. We literally have 3 different publishers that like we promote the fuck out of, man. We get a lot of people from them. Just we work with them in different capacities. Like it's awesome to get a chance to like just be a part of all that. I can't word hardly today. Words are hard.
Yes.
I've had most of the week off, and you'd think that my wording would be back, but it's not. It's just like, you thought you could talk.
I don't know what time
fix
off
that.
is.
My brain's just sort of overloaded.
It wasn't really time off. It was time that I could catch up on some of the other things that I'd been putting off. But it was kind of time off. I don't know. I wasn't doing anything. You guys haven't seen my oh so lovely face for a couple of days now. It got to skip a few. So how's everybody out there doing? Oh, Tom, we were talking about books just now, and Tom Dog the other night had on his show we were talking about The Dog Ate My Homework, and I said that I had a book that one of my dogs ate, and that was I hadn't realized until I had a dog that ate a fucking book of mine, that dogs ate paper, and so that would be why people use that excuse of the dog ate their homework. And he asked me what book it was, and Tom, I don't know the name of the book still, but I was like 8 or 9, something like that. And it wasn't See Jack Run. When I was that old, I was reading things like The Hobbit and Stephen King and shit like that, depending. But this was more of a kid's book. I remember it was about this big. It was a yellow book. I set it on top of my mom's black Mustang, and Cutie Pie, the dog, got it and tore it to shit. And the only thing I remember about it, because it wasn't that, like, it didn't draw me in as much as a lot of the more adult books that I'd been reading did, was that at the very end, they named the dog Goldie after, like, the yellow flowers that were growing around or something. So it was like some sort of, it was more of a kid's book, but it wasn't an actual kid's book, but it was way below the level that I normally read at, so I didn't absorb and retain everything because it was like, well, okay, and then the dog ate it, and I was like, okay. That would be a sign that I'm never supposed to read that book again. I need to go back to Stephen King because it's too thick for the dog to, or Tolkien,
Yeah. I will say, I think there is something to be said for going back and like reading things like way underneath your reading level sometimes. Because I mean, when Goosebumps were becoming a thing, they were, even at my age, they were still well below my reading level because I was still already reading like hardcore King, Barker, Lovecraft, and hardcore shit by then. But it was nice to go back and like check out like the more simplified stories of Goosebumps, and then the Fear Street books came out. And they were more complex for teenagers. Still, honestly, below my reading level at that time. But, oh my God, were the Fear Street books fun. And they did that series called, it was the Cheerleader series, where there was this ancient evil that hit Fear Street, and they got into the cheerleading squad, and there was like, I don't know, somewhere between like 3 and 5 books that were just all dedicated to all these terrible things happening to a cheerleading squad in the Fear Street school. And I remember there was a scene where one of the cheerleaders is taking a shower in like a glass shower, and something happened and the door wouldn't open and the water wouldn't turn off, and it filled with scalding water and it like basically almost like melted / burnt her to death. It was,
Oh wow.
yeah, they're like,
Yeah,
like
that
little
doesn't
teen
sound
slasher
good at
movies.
all.
They were really cool. Like, they were very short reads. You could, I mean, shit, at our reading speed these days, you could probably go through the whole series in a day. But I mean, they're just fun little, quick little pulp teenage slasher haunted demon things. And, I mean, they got three movies based on Fear Street on Netflix that just came out a couple years back that were really good. But like the books are a lot of fun.
I'll have to look
I've
them up.
enjoyed Cynthia Rylant with the girls. Sophia is obsessed with Cynthia Rylant. She has a story about Popple or Poppleton, the pig, and his friends that live around him, and Henry and Mudge, this boy and his dog, and what they learn as they go through life, and just all sorts of cute little tales. And they're like 4 chapters, like no more than like 50 pages at a time, and they're just easy, fun stories. And she's picking up so many words now by just us just sitting there and reading them in a day. So yeah.
It's very cool.
I liked. There were 2 sets of them, and you're gonna have to remind me what the other one was. There was the Encyclopedia Brown books,
Hmm.
and then there was the one where I think it was a brother and sister, and one of them would draw the picture of the scene, and then the boy would draw a picture of everything that was going on, and then the girl would point out what was wrong, like, oh, look, there's a screw missing from the vent. Like somehow the boy didn't notice that when he was drawing it.
Yeah.
But it was to get the kids to be able to like look at the picture and see if they could figure out what was wrong before they went to the last page to figure out the crime. It was things like somebody stole somebody's birthday present or, things
Yeah.
like that.
That
But
sounds really familiar.
those those were good kids books for getting them to work on critical reasoning
Yeah.
and thinking and stuff. But another one, if your kids are into animals, um, and I'm not sure exactly what age range this would be because it's hard for me to age range kids and books. But there's a whole series called of mystery novels called the Cat Who books, and they're about this guy who's a like millionaire author or something, and he spends his time going around traveling places to write and always gets sucked into some sort of a mystery, like kind of like Angela Lansbury, there's always a mystery. But he
Murder
has
She
his
Wrote.
cats. Yes. And his cats will do things to lead him to like clues, like there's a painting on the wall and the cat will be nudging the painting and there's something important about the painting or something important behind the painting, and so the cats help him solve the crimes. And it's I my friends who are adults read them, and they also have recipes that come with them because they're like he likes to go out and eat good food, and so you can actually get the Cat Who recipe book and make like their super special meatloaf and the best mac and cheese and all the different some higher class foods and stuff too, but like those are some of the ones that I've tried that she made out of it, and they're really fun books for like I think it's like it would be a good transitional type of book for kids because they get to have the animal involved, and it's like, geez, are you stupid? Why aren't you listening to the cat? The cat's obviously saying this, and it's like he never. It's like he knows that the cats have their silly habits, but he doesn't always really totally believe that the cats know what they're talking about
Right.
since they can't talk, So he's like, okay, there's something going on here, but I'll figure it out eventually. When the cat's like, come on, dumbass. I've hit this painting every minute that you've walked by it. Why don't you look? You know. So,
That's awesome.
so those are some fun books too.
Oh yeah. I found out that Sophia has a very stern idea about what happens during the zombie apocalypse and what happens if you get bitten.
Ooh,
I'm
let's
like,
hear
I
it.
didn't realize that she had already figured out, like, okay, if you get bitten, you're goner. And
Yeah.
she's like, so she was telling this story about what happened to this one family, this mom and her two girls, and one of them gets bit and turns, and she has to do the hardest thing ever to save her other kid.
Oh no.
So I'm like, where the hell did this come from? And I didn't realize that you had thought about it that much.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
So yeah, my kids already got a plan for the zombie apocalypse. I'm proud and slightly saddened.
I think that's an
Yeah.
important part of life is to have your zombie emergency plan.
Yeah, but my
Oh yeah.
9-year-old. So yeah, apparently she has one to go along with ours. I don't know if she's figured out ours yet, but we'll figure it out later.
What is your zombie plan? I'm always curious. This is something that like I love hearing about other people's ideas.
So I've been looking around the area where I'm in because I'm broke and I can't really go that far. I've found the best place around where I am for us to hold up and set up a base and have room for like different things we would need. And we've already got like chickens and whatever. So yeah, I got an idea for the base where we should be. Everybody, oddly enough, has agreed that that is the best place to be
Where?
because
Oh yeah, the building. Yeah.
yeah, the building over at the uncle's house
Yeah.
that we had talked about, and everybody already knows, like, has different skills, ways to make ammunition if we had to, um, how to can food and all that good junk. Because
Yeah.
everybody's been building skills regardless of what has to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, go there, hold up, try our best to defend ourselves, and live through it.
Hell yeah,
And
man.
apparently, the stern rules is if you get bit, you don't continue on past that point,
Yep. You
according
got
to
to go
my
for the
9-year-old.
headshot.
That's
Hell yeah, man.
yeah.
Like I thought about this like so fucking much. I've read everything. I've seen everything. I know a while back it was like a Halloween thing the CDC put out. You know the plan for
Yeah,
the U.S. government. You know their multi-step plan in case of it. There's the Max Brooks World War Z book, which I absolutely adored. I've read and listened to like a million times, like even the different versions of that have been out. Maybe not so much. I don't care for that one as much. But like I don't know, I just spent a lot of time like figuring it out. And the thing is, I'm right by Air Force Base, which is good and bad. It's
mhm,
bad because everything tells you that the base is inevitably going to get overrun by survivors. There's going to be too many people inside, and it's too easy for the disease to hide and break out. So I don't want to get anywhere near the base. Like where I live now is, it's farther away. It's about a 45 minute from the base, but I feel like that's still a little too close. Still a little bit too close to a major area. So I'm gonna stick in Ohio, but I'm thinking about going I don't know. I want to go a little bit closer to Canada for sure, because as it gets colder, in theory, the zombies will at least be slower traditionally. Uh, they obviously their muscles will start to freeze up, and in a lot of stories, they'll actually freeze in place during a hard snow. So I'm thinking, up towards Canada is good when it's cold. I'm okay in the cold as long as things are, set up nicely. Find me a nice concrete building. I've decided I want concrete because I can actually heat concrete easier. Um, there's a lot of things you can do with water and just PVC piping in the concrete floors and then re-pour concrete. So you can literally keep your floors heated, which helps with you can do it with the walls, and it's a lot easier to do. The trick is running water. So I've been trying to figure out the easiest way to. I read a lot of things, so I want to collect a lot of people on the way so we can keep the waterworks going for the city, the power grid going, things like that. I thought about that a lot, like reading The Stand actually, about
yeah.
how
The
smart it
thing
is to do all.
we
Yeah,
get that from.
yeah. But the smallest possible town you can do it in, the better, because it's a lot easier. There's a lot less things that can go wrong or need to be fixed. So it's got to be like that. And I'm thinking the initial home before survivors are allowed in with stringent rules. I'm going to do this like treadmill / conveyor belt system about 50 feet away. No, way more than that. It's 50 yards away, like boxing in the whole property, like down in sort of like a moat that I'm going to do. So my concept is I can do that to help with electricity in case, until I can get, like the local power grid back up. And the way I can set it up is just, the whole ride the bike, power your home sort of thing. But I'm going to do it with zombies. I'm going to attract the zombies into these pits where the conveyor belts are and have meat kind of dangling down, a person, that a terrible human being, maybe strap them to a wall somewhere. And the zombies are just, they'll never get eaten because the zombies are just always going to be walking towards them. And then I've got power for the whole area. Now and then you get too many zombies. Make sure your conveyor belts and systems are made out of, certain kinds of metals that you can have a quick, small fire in that won't disrupt it too much. And now and then you just take some of the zombies out so they can't pile out, because they tend to, in many stories, once there's so many in a space, they tend to climb up over each other. And that's how they scale walls and things like that. So there's a lot of really cool things that you can do, like by using the zombies to make your life easier as well. And when zombies tend to see other zombies, it can tend to, in many different stories and versions of zombie lore, overpower your smell so it doesn't attract outside zombies. So you build basically a moat of zombies that powers your whole compound until you can get the electric grid ready to go. And then you can also use that, hydroelectric as well, if you're at least close enough to some kind of water source. I can build a purifier so I have, more often running water. I don't know. It's like the whole survival. A lot of this I think would work minus the zombie treadmills. Minus the zombie treadmill part, I think a lot of what I'm planning would work in just about any disaster scenario. But one day I'm going to have enough money to buy this small like ghost town. I'm going to convert everything with all these safety things. I'm going to have like the first floor of the house with retractable stairs. So if they do get in, bam. So you got all these little details and traps and things you got to think about. But not just for zombies, but for other survivors too. 'Cause you got to protect your shit, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, we could get that island up by Nova Scotia, and we'd just be set because they can't get there.
But in many stories, zombies can walk through the water.
And sharks can eat them.
That's true. But
and I don't know if they would or not, but I can't see the zombies being bound and determined that there will be a horde of them approaching an island in Nova Scotia, because they might freeze with the water.
True. They'll definitely freeze over as they get. Yeah.
So, and whether their bodies, as they're decomposing, can handle the pressure of going down to the deeps.
Yeah.
To where they would. It's not like they're going to be doing the breaststroke to come hang out with you.
Right.
They're lizard braining it at this point. So. Yeah. Even if they, something has to make them decide to go into the water to begin with. And unless there's a food source right there close to them in front of the water, or just across, or like you can see them trying to cross a river if they see food on the other side. But I don't see them wandering into the ocean just to hang out, do their thing.
That's probably true, yeah.
It would be hard to get to Nova Scotia once the outbreak happens, but
but you still have all the things set up just in case of other disasters.
Yeah. Oh, and I have. I don't have any guns. I just don't have them. My landlord owns a gun shop though, and so I'm safe here. Dante says hi. Hi, Dante.
Hi, Dante.
Hi, baby boy.
But so some of his children live in the building, and they all have guns. And I'm pretty sure most of the people in my neighborhood have guns. I'm not positive, but I hear them go off enough, and and I live right catty corner from the police station as well, so I can start my holing up there. I have my couch machete. I have golf club over there. I have Boken sword right behind the door, all within.
Oh yeah, and high jump too.
Easy reach.
See, I think these weapons are all useless in a zombie apocalypse.
My blunt force and bladed.
Yeah,
I know
the
you
ones
go
you
for the
have.
headshot, but for me right now, it's what I got and what
Right.
I can
But
have.
so
So,
blunt force, you're going to end up hurting yourself if you really think about it, because the swing you got to do to bust a skull open is basically going to vibrate your hand. That vibration is going to go all the way up your arm, man. So doing that repeatedly, you're going to break things, bones. And the
I know.
machete is great, but and a real, when you're really like thinking about it, swinging against the corpse, it's not going to stop coming. You're going to tire yourself out and get overwhelmed.
And
So here's what I
decapitated.
think you should have:
You,
a
you knock them
giant.
down with a golf club. You decapitate.
That's gonna hurt bad. That impact, you're just gonna like in the cartoons, they're just like vibrating for like 2 minutes. Their whole
I'll wear
body is
some
going.
mittens. Like, I'll get a big. I'll
All you
insulate
really need,
the.
man, is a long spike. That's it. Even if it's like a broom handle that like you like affix a spike to the end of, that's it.
Oh, you mean
See,
my
yeah.
all?
So that's good for the quick poke through the eye into the brain. Bam.
Mhm.
Then we're good for that. What you want to do though is attach that to something that's at least like a couple feet long for an extra, range. And that's the only tool I think you honestly really ever need during the zombie apocalypse, because it's not going to create any sound. Quick pop. You have to practice a few times, trap a couple and, practice on where to do it right. But
Yeah.
and I think that saves your body a lot of impact too.
Yeah. I know about the bodily impact thing. I'd be wrapping some insulation around that golf club. Currently, I don't,
Oh, yeah.
because
Yeah.
that would just look weird.
And then has ever stopped anything before.
I have a golf club, a wooden sword, a couch, a machete, and an ice pick, all within reach of like me within 2 steps, but wrapping something around it would look weird.
See, I mean, all those things are good against the other survivors that want to do you harm, though.
Yes. And my problem is going to be, and this is what's going to be a problem for a huge amount of people, medication.
Very difficult. I have a plan for this.
Break into Walgreens and just get as much as I can.
I mean, you're going to have to do scouting missions for stuff like that. I mean, there's no getting around. There's just going to be some supplies that you can't make or have. Now, for a lot of different medical illnesses, there's a lot of plants and things that you can inevitably grow yourself to help, with, especially marijuana. Different strains and different herbs will actually help with a lot of different illnesses, but never like infections of any sort, or, there's a lot of things that it won't do.
Yeah.
So for that, there's a lot of natural things out there, things that you can grow that will fight infections, that you can make a paste or a powder and get the empty capsules, because no one goes after like the empty capsules that they sell in bulk at like stores and stuff like that. That's shit people leave behind in a zombie apocalypse. So literally find your own natural remedies ones that actually work. So, do your research, but get those little capsules. So when you make your paste and you grind the herbs or whatever you're doing, then you can literally just take it. And then if you can trade that for things that you won't need as much and make a ton of extra, that also goes a long way.
Or just put cyanide in them and rob the other person.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the other option you got. I don't know what kind of survivor you are. Like, I don't think I'll be a dick survivor. Like, I'm not going to go out to, like, fuck people up. I'll be cool and, like, trade with people. But, like, I don't want to know people either.
Yeah. I'm the kind who keep the fam alive, and then nobody else gets in, because every additional person is a risk. I might be a horrible person for thinking that, but I wouldn't be one of the people building one of the big campsites or fortresses. I'd be like the person who lives in the outskirts and goes and swaps, like you were saying, does the trading kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not trying to reestablish humanity or nothing. I'm just trying to survive. But also I think, you got to leave some room open a little bit, because you're going to meet people that have skills that you're going to find are necessary to survive that you don't have in your group.
Yeah.
So I think you have to find a way, like have a system in order to bring people in if necessary.
Well, and then there's also I'd been studying this for some of my books where there's like worldwide disaster things and how long you can keep. You were talking about keeping the power plants open, but the things that run the power plants also need to be kept open.
Uh-huh.
And you can't just have that one doesn't just suddenly go. And gas loses its ability to make cars move after it has an expiration date, folks. If
Yep.
you didn't know this, you're learning now.
Yep.
You only be able to drive for approximately, what is it, 3 months or so?
Yep.
I think once you've
I'd say 3 months and
once
some
we
odd
get
days.
to where once we no longer have fresh fuel being made. So I guess everybody's going to be fighting over the Kia Souls, and God, that's going to be miserable. The
Yeah.
entire world drives around in bread boxes. Yay.
Yeah. I mean, also you can convert, like, get a vehicle that's like such easy maintenance that even if you're not a car person or mechanical person that you think you could like do the basics on, and convert it to biodiesel that you can make yourself. Honestly,
So
it's a
not
process to
Alexis.
learn. Well, I mean, no. I mean, there's also, these days there's, like solar vehicles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the solar power vehicles aren't as big as obviously, but like as the electronic vehicles. But again, the electronic vehicles you still have to have a power source. But it's easier to create a power source like that will charge one of those than it is to, you know, make biodiesel probably. But the downside is those vehicles are very complex. So if they break down, the chances that you're just going to be able to teach yourself how to fix it real quick is pretty damn slim, man. So you got to go with like easy things, like super easy things. I'm talking like go-karts and like shit like that, like really fucking easy, simple engine, simple everything.
Stuff that isn't going to be planning on being used for long distance
Mhm.
in most cases.
Yeah. And steam.
Oh,
Simple steam engines, I think, are honestly your ultimate best bet because you can collect rainwater. There's so many things you can do to get water.
I
Like
thought you said
it's a lot easier to get water.
rainwater.
Brain water, no.
Got my pick.
Rainwater. But I feel
Get
like
some
steam
zombie
would be like
rainwater.
a.
Does that work?
I feel like steam would be like ultimately a pretty good concept because just get basic shit. Just build something basic. I mean, you can even build a shitty little like Mad Max vehicle really with like almost nothing. That's no electronic parts, no, just simple steam and some pistons to move your wheels, and that's and a basic steering wheel. That's all you need.
There you go. I wouldn't be able to drive it, but like I don't
Well,
know,
no,
depending on how fast it goes, maybe I could. I wouldn't like worry about the epilepsy driving so much if it was like, yep, you can go 5 miles an hour.
right. I mean, the thing is, you want to go something that'll outrun a zombie, but nothing that you can go too quick in because what happens and you're exhausted or you're hurt and you pass out in your vehicle and your foot presses the gas and you die. If you can only go like just fast enough to get past the zombie, then you're even a head-on collision. You're gonna survive. You're gonna be okay. You just gotta be faster than the largest horde. That's all.
Very true. And somebody earlier said brains taste like ice cream, and I was so confused.
Somebody said, "Bro, what? Where did they say this?"
Somebody on one of the reels said brains taste like ice cream, and they're odd random facts. And I was so confused. How does that even work?
Maybe that's a reference to monkey brains and ice cream. I don't know.
Possibly. I don't know.
That's a delicacy in some places.
Yes, it is. And on Clue.
Well, yeah. So Haunt's been interesting so far this year, man. Like we were talking a little bit, during my birthday episode, I talked a little bit about it. But we had like 148 people in our family and friends night / dress rehearsal that first Friday, and like that was the most people we'd ever had really come out for that. And we didn't open in like we weren't doing normal hours though. We were trying to only be open for like maybe 2 or 3 hours. So like in that time, like that was nice. And then opening night, 280 people, man. That's unheard of for opening night for our haunt. That was a huge deal.
But that was an awesome discount too.
Yeah, it was only $15. We've been running some other stuff too, but this weekend was slower. It's about what we would expect from early September in Ohio, but it was still busier than our slow nights, our slow weekends on other seasons. So it was still a pickup, which was nice, but we didn't quite keep that momentum from the first weekend going. But as we're getting later into September, like this weekend, we're expecting a little bit more of a pickup. It's really local football games on Fridays that every haunt around here fights against football games because that's where everybody in the towns nearby are because it's so huge around here, like it is in many other places. So that's always a big deal, man. But we're finding that more and more people know who we are. We had Ohio Valley Haunts out this past Friday, a big reviewer, so we're expecting that review this week. We had Scare Factor came out on Saturday, which again that is like the top around here. And then Rex Stick, the YouTuber, came out again like he did last year. He did one of our walkthrough videos last year. So he's actually got one he's posting the next week that's a full on with lights and just everything. So I'm really excited to see what he got. Yeah, I had a chance to hang out with him for a while after he did the walkthrough. But I'm not in the videos because, as I had mentioned before, I found a replacement for the new Jamie Rotten. And this guy just asked every question, like everything he wanted to do, without knowing it, were things that I do, or ways that I handle certain things that happen. Just all the stars lined up, and I've known John for a number of years now. He's been part of the haunt because his girlfriend Megan works at the haunt, and I've actually worked at Megan in other haunts before, so I had already loved Megan going into it. I was so excited when I came to this brand new Haunt Hell's Dungeon, 4 seasons ago when it opened, that she was there too. I was like, wait a minute. And it took us a year. Like, it took us until season 2 to finally figure out where we knew each other from, because we had some memories pop up or something from the old haunt we had worked at together. And we're like, wait a minute. And then we kind of figured it out. But so I'd known John for a little while and seeing him in the role the first night that he did it. And I think I showed you guys that video with him on the stage doing it from that Friday. That was the one I showed you guys. It was breathtaking, man, and so way ahead of schedule. Saturday, I walked in and I handed the Freak Show over to the Freaks. They now run the Freak Show together. John is the new JB Rotten, or however he chooses to change that up. But it was surreal, man, because you build something hoping that people will like it enough to keep it going if something happens, and I've stepped away from it now. JB Rotten is no longer me. I'm actually going to probably take down that Facebook page now. But I got to create this awesome thing with awesome people and, ensure that it's, even when I'm not around, it's going to be there. It'll still be what it is. So it's cool, man. It's sad that I'm not going to be back there with them every night this year. But I'm also stepping down a lot from acting in general this year. Like, I wasn't going to really start stepping back more until next year. But things kind of happen this year. I'm getting the chance to do a lot more with the actors than we were ever able to before. I spent all of Saturday all over the haunt, not in character, hiding in places, listening to people, giving them directions to kind of fine-tune the show. And I actually found that I loved it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I mean, I knew I was going to enjoy it, but like, you're not just going in and saying, okay, well, you need to scare from the middle of the group because, the flow isn't right here. People are getting held up for like a minute too long in this section. So you're watching all these things happen. You got to get creative, think on the fly. You've got to move people from one section to another. Sometimes they get irritated, but you have to manage their energy. When they're upset, you have to go in and figure out what's going on and solve it for them or pull them out and have somebody take their place. Like, there's 2 million moving parts when you're doing that. And I actually got the chance to do it entirely by myself on Saturday. So it was literally only me going in there and like just fixing every little thing. So it was a good trial run to see if, health wise, I was able to keep up with it, which that's questionable still. That's still in the questionable realm. But I'll say it was easier than acting full time for my body, because I still had some moments where I could sit down and breathe, grab a radio, see what was going on with everybody, take a deep breath, run outside, have a quick smoke, and just figure shit out in my head, and then run right back in and all through our maze pathways. But then you play the game where if we start to get busy, you have to hide from the guests. So you have to know every little hiding spot in the whole haunt to know that, okay, there's a group here. This group's going too fast. They're getting slowed down. I'm about to be sandwiched by the groups. Tuck and roll, Grandma. Just right up underneath. Like you have to know all these little things. And then there's inevitably going to be the moment where I get caught by a group, like where I'm just there. So I'm going to have to figure out how to hide in the scene, or suddenly I'm just going to be a victim and someone's going to kill me. And that's how we'll play it off or something. I'll figure that one out. But it's different. It's sad that I'm not, really going to be acting much this year probably, or maybe at all. But I mean, I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will some. But I'm really excited, to go forward with this whole the full-time management aspect of it and just worry about them and how the show is displayed to the public. So that's really cool, man. It's scary. It's terrifying to be in charge of that many people and not just be back there in my spot acting and not having to worry about it while we're open. But it's something I haven't done in a long time, and never to this degree with this many people.
When people are coming in, though, do you get
We
to...
have such sights to show you.
Yeah, more or less. And I've actually used that very phrase numerous times in the past, as I can.
So, speaking of things to show, we have 2 new shows that are going to be coming up, and we have the premieres for them. Here are the promos for them. So, for those of you who are here, they're just 2 30-second ads, so we're going to give you a hint of what's coming up next.
Love it.
Legends by Night. I'm excited about that one.
Do you want to tell people a little bit about what it's about?
Yeah, so I'm a huge fan of this old school show, which is a podcast these days called Coast to Coast. That was basically an old school call-in show where each show had a theme: aliens, cryptids, serial killers, you name it. And the host would basically, put out some real information about the show, but also talk about, personal experiences. They'd have callers call in and share their personal experiences. They'd get experts and all sorts of different things like that. I've always wanted to do a show like that, but I don't want to copy, I don't want to just copy what they did, because that's rude. I don't want to be a dick about it. So my idea about it is, it's going to be a little similar, because you can't not be, similar in at least some ways. We will have a theme, every episode, and it will range wildly like that for, very macabre and strange things. But I want some haunters, people that work different haunted attractions, help. Depending on how things go, you might just see a lot of faces for mine, but I'm hoping to get out there and, get a lot of other haunters involved. Just as sort of a way to sit down with my fellow haunt community and just talk about all these strange, crazy things. But I'll bring people, people on that have specific experiences with these sort of topics. Again, aliens, cryptids, etc. So you'll get to kind of see us, interact as one giant haunt family, no matter where we are. And we'll talk about the haunt industry more. Definitely, we'll talk about, little things that happen behind the scenes, funny things, fun things. But then we'll get right into the whole, macabre of it all. And I'll throw some facts out every now and then. But what interests me more about personal experiences like this is that everyone believes something different. Like, what you think Bigfoot is might not be what your neighbor thinks Bigfoot is. And I mean, like, maybe you think it's all Harry and the Hendersons, and maybe your neighbor thinks it's a skunk ape, or, whatever. So the less actual, this is definitively what it is, I think the better in that case, because we see our own interpretations of things. And we get to learn from each other kind of in the process. So it's not a straight up learning show, more so learning how we interact with the world around us, as individuals, versus, the mob mentality, like society kind of forcing your views on certain things. So I think it'll be a fun experiment as far as shows go. And speaking of educational shows,
are going to be bringing back, well, rebooting
Yeah.
the art of storytelling, which was initially what the entire podcast was about, and is why so many of our shows pretty much are based in storytelling.
Yeah.
I like to say we're going to go from cave painting to creepypasta, and we cover all of the history. You'll be told stories as well, so it will be entertaining. It's not just going to be history lesson after history lesson, but all of the unique ways and the purposes of storytelling from back when we lived in tribes and you were teaching people how to, go about living and surviving, and how, they had different things that they worshipped and gods, and how to celebrate the harvest, and how to uh, all the beliefs people had, just everything from the oral traditions and then the paintings and stuff on the walls as well, and what they represented. And then moving forward, um, comedy, people who do stand-up comedy, obviously the written word that is out there, music. And that was another thing that's a long time past. People would do um, all over the world would do dances around fires with music and celebrate natu- naturalism and things like that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have politics, because political speeches are telling a story, and why it's important, and how to pay attention, and how to disassemble the story and figure out what it means, and how to deliver stories in those ways as well. So sometimes I will assign homework. Russ might assign some homework. Jenny might assign some homework. I'm not sure. But it's never mandatory. It's just kind of one of those. And if you would like to look into this is what we'll be discussing next month. So it's going to be joining our Sunday lineup as soon as we can get everything settled up. We had some shows that we've done in the past, and now we would like to kind of clean it up a little bit since we've had more experience at this, and make it better.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 new shows that we are going to be having out soon.
Yeah. And I know this Monday we have Tomb of the Terrible again, but Legends by Night will officially begin the week after that. That'll be the official first episode, like right at the end of September. So I'm really excited about that. And hopefully we'll have some updates soon on when we'll be starting the Art of Storytelling.
And we do have a new show that just started showing up on our YouTube on
Oh, yeah.
midnights randomly.
It's a weird one.
So
Yeah.
keep an
it's,
eye out for that.
Yeah, it's WOLR Elliott Radio. It's it showed up one midnight. I guess it's gonna. I'm assuming that's what it'll happen again, but we have no idea what that schedule is or when it'll appear. Just on random midnights from now until who knows. So if you really want to know it and catch it when it first comes out, don't wait for us to repost it on Facebook, because hell, some of us might be asleep when it pops up. So just make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube. That way you get the immediate notification.
Don't forget to ring the bell. So
Yes,
you
ring that
get
bell.
the notifications.
Yeah.
You can find links to everything also above or below or on one of the sides. We don't know.
Yeah.
Depends on where you're watching.
Where links go, as NJ Sullivan says.
And speaking of subscribers, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, we do have our Twitch channel as well, and we're looking very forward to getting to play some games with you guys. With your involvement, we're going to be doing some D&D stuff coming up in the winter, and there's ways that we can allow you to interact with us in the games, mostly through Twitch. It's going to be where we focus everything, because it's the easiest platform for something like that. But in order for us to get the content to you that we want to, we need to have 50 followers. And because depending on how many followers and stuff you have on Twitch, it allows you to do more things, like let the people who, as you watch, if you're not familiar with Twitch, as you're watching a channel, you build up channel points, and you can spend those channel points, but we are restricted as to what we can allow you to use them for based on how many followers that we have.
Yeah.
So this way, if we're playing a game and some we're overtaken by monsters. Oh, and the party is fighting and fighting, and somebody is down. Oh dear! And somebody who's watching is like, "Hey, I have this many channel points. I can donate this many of them, and the little Zelda fairy will come down and give that player a kiss, and a little bit of extra health will come back to them. Or you might just help somebody have a better hit with their throat with their roll, something
Please
like that.
don't let it be
Things like
Navi.
that. Please, what?
Please don't let it be Navi.
Yes, nothing naughty.
No,
Just
Navi.
Navi.
Navi. Okay,
The one
I'm
that says,
lost.
hey, listen.
Oh, the fairy. Okay.
Yep.
It took me a long time to get that
You were
one.
so stuck on the naughty comment that you just couldn't move past it. That's what it was.
I'm like, then it was the Navi, and I was like, aren't those the blue people in Avatar or something? I don't
We don't
know.
talk about
Talking about
unobtainium
fairies,
here.
talking
I don't
about
watch that.
Zelda, and of
Yeah.
course,
That's,
I love Zelda, but I never got to really play it, so I kind of suck there. But The Legend of Neil, if you guys haven't watched it,
yeah.
go out and find it. Oh my god, it is one of the most hysterical things on the internet.
It's
If
pretty
you
funny.
like Zelda, it's amazing. It has what's her Clarissa, isn't it from the guild? Uh, the redhead who plays the fairy.
Oh, that's right. No, that's Felicia Day.
Felicia Day. Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't know why I got Carissa, but there was a C and an I and an S and an A. I was close.
I love me some Felicia Day, man.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. But yeah, it's all about this guy who's trying to kill himself and accidentally gets himself sucked into a game of The Legend of Zelda, and he's really drunk, and
Yeah.
they start it
Really
off
drunk.
every time with like the intro song gets longer and longer and longer and longer, and it just keeps adding on to all of the things that have happened as he's gone through it, and it is just amazing.
It,
I I can't recommend it enough. I wish we could just. I'm gonna have to watch it later. Like, we'll host a watch party sometime. I don't know
yeah.
if you join our Discord
Yes.
and join our Discord. We could
Legend of
hang out.
what?
Neil.
Neil. Okay.
Yeah.
Neil's just this guy who gets sucked into playing real life version of The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks he's Link, and he's
Um,
like,
to what I was saying earlier,
yeah,
also subscribers, we really need you guys to subscribe to the YouTube, man. Like, what I've been noticing is we get a decent amount of views per video. Still, we're still growing. We got a long way to go, but I'm looking at all these views and I'm seeing our subscriber count. I'm like, you guys are out there watching the videos, but you're forgetting to hit that button, man. Like, you gotta hit that subscribe button. I think some people noticed this week because we had a little bit of an uptick this week, but we need you guys, just like everywhere else. The more numbers we have, the more things that we can do, and the bigger we can grow our network, and the quicker we can grow our network. And you guys can meet us, in your towns, going to conventions and all sorts of crazy things.
yeah, we would love to go to conventions, get tables
Yes.
set up, meet you guys, go and meet a lot of the creators and stuff out there so
Mhm.
that we can introduce them to you guys. Uh, we have somebody coming up in the future soon that I'm really excited
Yeah.
about. In October, we're gonna. Can I do some? I can do some name dropping, can I? 'Cause
Yeah. Of
we've already
course, of
got them
course.
submitted in. We're gonna have DG Chichester coming in October, and he's going to be here on October 8th for an episode of The Clutch.
Nice.
Amazing comic book writer. If you aren't familiar with him, he did back in the day the Clive Barker's Hellraisers stuff. He was both an editor and an author in there. He's done a lot of Daredevil, and he does a lot of the darker side of comics. He did like the Night Stalkers when the Rise of the Midnight Suns came out, and actually the idea to use Lilith was his. Um, Learned that from a panel, but he's coming out. He's going to have a new Kickstarter going So we're going to get a chance to talk to him about all of his old stuff, and then as well as what new stuff he's bringing to the table. And so that's going to be super awesome. We're going to try to do some sort of, since we usually have readings on the clutch, we're going to try to see if we can figure out a way for him to do a comic book reading, but more like a pitch presentation where he would show us how he would present the comic book, and then like if he was, pardon me, if he was pitching it to somebody live and like but reading to us the dialogue we couldn't see but showing how he'd have it framed out and stuff like that and give us a little bit of an education on how to do that. So
Nice.
I'm super excited for that.
Oh yeah.
And we're getting Rob Smales back as well. Like I said earlier, he's going to be on the 1st of October, and his new book is great. You guys are going to love it. It's awesome. We love Rob.
And I think you also have another returning guest for a clutch in early November. And that's going to be me, because I'm going to have the sequel to this book I need to finish writing. Silence's Crimson 2, Homecoming, releases on your birthday, on Halloween. Hopefully.
Yay!
So
Birthday
I'm going
presents.
to come back and make me talk about it.
Okay, I can do that. But so remember when I told you to change that one word on the one page? That was cool.
Oh yeah, and
No.
on Printed Pages on Thursday, we are getting Cursed Dragon Ship to come join us. Kelly Lynn Colby and Zafo, Kevin Colby, will be joining us to talk about being an author and running a publishing company, because
Nice.
those are our favorite type of people.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait.
Very cool. That is exciting, man. We got a lot of really cool stuff coming up, guys. We get really excited about this behind the scenes, too, because every time we get another show booked or we get a concept for a new show, we just dance. Not really. We don't dance per se. But like, mentally, I'm totally like flipping out.
Okay, now you got to hit the thing. Because...
What thing? Oh, yeah. Just call it Jeremy's songs. That's what I call it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call it now. It's just
Okay, Jeremy's song. Yeah. We do dance. In our chairs. We dance in our chairs.
Chair dance. Which sounds not like
We're
what it is
old.
at all.
We have to sit down and dance like that. But yeah, no, we spend like, we get off the shows and we're like, okay, so for the next 3 hours, we're just going to sit in here and talk to each other about everything that's going on, because
We do that
it's
a
crazy
lot.
exciting. And
Oh, yeah.
we need to make more graphics for things, and you need to do this, and you need to do this, and you need to do this, and
Yeah.
how do you keep doing all of that? You do a lot. Jesus, Jenny.
Dude, yeah, I just got
fun.
finished reading the entire first anthology, Dark Dreams, Into the Night, and made graphics for all the stories and posted them. They're going to be rolling, or they're already on Instagram, because Instagram is hard. But they're going to be showing up on Facebook. So, yeah, that was fun. That's why I can already tell you Raz's new story is awesome. And it is not what I expected at all. So, yeah, it rocked.
Excited about everybody getting a chance to see that when it comes out. And hopefully we'll be doing like a special presentation event of like Clutch or Unprinted Pages or the combination of, to help with a book release for that anthology for Fake Horror. It's something I know we're still technically working on right now and that we really want to do. So that'll be super exciting too, to sit down with all the authors that contributed.
Yeah, get a big show going for that. Pull on everybody. We can only fit 10 people, so we'll have to, I don't know how many people are involved. We might have to
We can rotate too.
people in and out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Usually the book like release parties is usually revolving, because you set up a time frame and like not everybody's available that same time or for very long, or so it'll probably be a revolving door of people for those that can actually do it. Because it's a 2-volume one too.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, for those of you who don't have much time, we'll cut it into little pieces so you can see with the parts that you want. That's always fun. We're also thinking of having a What the Fuh playlist where we do clips out of shows where we discuss just bizarre shit for no reason because we're authors.
Yeah.
And like explaining to you how to preserve a body at gain style. You know.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think about that. We think it
yeah.
would be fun. Would you guys be interested in?
I mean, that sounds like more work for me, but it sounds fantastic.
Well, I'm gonna
True,
try
it
to
is.
help from my
I'm
end.
just
I can't
just
do the
teasing.
beginning and ending thing like you
I'm
have.
just teasing, man. I'm just
I
teasing.
don't
But
have
that
those.
does remind me that I got things to catch up on
Send
with
me
that.
those.
If you
There's
go
Yeah,
into our
just you know how you have like the little beginning and ending on the little stories, the
yeah.
cutout stories.
Mhm.
I don't have those little videos, so with
Oh
those,
yeah. You'll notice that I use the same one for all our stuff. All because it's just I like it that way. It's just how I like it.
yeah, I have no
I have all that
problem.
stuff. You can use
Look
it.
at
But
you.
speaking of all that shit, if you go to
Thank you
the
for letting us know.
if you go onto our YouTube, um, you'll notice that the original 2 episodes of the Allied Society have finally been added. I thought the third one has, but apparently I just remembered that Dell had told me there was some kind of failure when it was uploading the other day, when I was uploading things today. So overnight tonight, I'll actually be getting that third one on there, and then Allied Society will finally be complete with all its original episodes recut and re-edited for the new network. Um, but then I got to go back. I know I got at least one Allied Society to do, possibly a clutch and some other things to catch back on the pieces of, and then I'm gonna get to go back through and do pieces of things for other shows.
So you'll be getting, I think we're up to what, 7 or 8 episodes now of Owlite Society.
I think it's
6.
8, yeah.
Oh, 8, a lot. Well, a
Yeah.
fair amount anyway. But the stories themselves, if you want to watch us all hang out and get to banter and everything, you can watch the entire episode. If not, we have a playlist that's called Campfire Cinders. Since we hold the campfire, you can see all the stories. We have 43 right now, and he's getting ready to add some more.
Yes.
So you can watch everybody's short stories and just, as you like, just go through, pick a story. If you don't have too much time, pick a longer one if you have some time. And you don't have to listen to us jabber if that's not your thing. But it
Oh
is
yeah.
some of your thing. We know it is.
And you're right. It is
There are 4 of
6.
you here.
It is 6, but only 5 of them are up until I get episode
It's
3 fixed. But yeah.
it's 6, but in 6 of them we've gotten through. Well, yeah, in 5 of them we have 43 stories. So
It feels
if
like
that gives you a hint, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, actually, no, that's not even true. That's just in 4 of them because I have not even done one's not. Oh no, you're right because I already did the cuts from episode 3. I'm dumb. I haven't done the cuts for episode 6 we just did for my birthday last Sunday though, so that's the one I got to do this week. So that'll be like God knows how many. But we have 104 videos. Oh my god,
Yeah.
104 on our YouTube. People, anywhere from like a couple minutes to like 5 hours.
5 hours is, boy, was that long.
Yeah, we don't do this.
It was
too often.
fun. But and
Yeah.
for those of you who are interested, eventually, and we're working on getting this all planned out. Probably going to be in winter or after January.
In
We're gonna try
January
to
sometime.
in
Yeah.
January. Okay, we're gonna be working on this 24-hour episode.
Mm.
And you aren't just gonna be seeing my ugly mug up here. You're gonna be seeing us rotating through different people at different times so that some of us can go and take our 10-hour naps and then come back. Probably won't
Yeah.
do a 10-hour one that day, but got to get the sleep in for health reasons and
Yeah.
have different people on and do all sorts of different things. All of
Yeah.
our different shows we'll be doing parts of, getting on some of our favorite authors and stuff to do some readings with us.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
And just past guests we've had for different random reasons. Maybe it's someone we've only seen once, or people that kind of like to stick around, and maybe even a lot of new faces. But it'll be like kind of like one of those old school like PBS telethons. That's kind of how it works in my brain, where we are going to do silly things, and maybe you can dare us to do things for money. We'll talk about that as the time comes. We'll see. But the whole point is we need funds to run the show for the year, and the quicker we can do that in the year, the quicker we can get on to the bigger things we're working on to give you guys more content, stranger content, bigger content, and also we'll be choosing a charity to split all of our proceeds with, because that's just who we are. We like to give back to our communities, man. So if you guys have any favorite charities, you can hit us up, tell us about them, give us some information. And it might be more than one charity. Who knows? We'll figure that out.
We could designate certain time slots or something like that.
Yeah,
or
we
just
could
give
totally do that.
options
Yeah,
for people
yeah,
to do.
yeah.
It'll be, of course, you can watch for free, but
Yeah. We're
donations will
not
be
charging you
accepted
anything.
type of thing. We,
Yeah,
we, we aren't going to do that crazy route where it's like, oh, you have to pay for content or
yeah.
anything.
That's something we talked a lot
That's
about.
not
Like
our,
that.
that's our
Yeah, we've always been at about never ever wanting like a paywall, like a straight up paywall, because we just weren't interested in having a paywall. Like we like doing this, and if we can only do it when you pay us, well, maybe everybody's starting like we are, and then we don't get to do the show for 3 months. So we're gonna do the show anyway, but we may have some weird content later, way in the future, but I don't know. I don't even know if we'll ever do that. Like, we just want to keep our show going, with ads eventually in the future. We just haven't been, we're not too worried about that until next year. Events, donations, things like that. I know some of us have Ko-Fis that we haven't even been really doing anything with that or pushing those at all because we're just not ready to do that yet. We just want to spend time with you guys and, have you get to know us and get to know you a little bit more before we start worrying about all those things.
and that's all just to keep, like we said, to keep the show running.
Yeah.
The stuff that we're paying for out of pocket right now, not to buy ourselves cars, to do things like
no, fuck
pay
that.
for StreamYard and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We aren't.
Yeah.
We want
I mean,
everything
really,
to go back
it's
in.
StreamYard stuff for giveaways that literally go directly back to you guys. Basic stuff. I mean, and we're pretty open about that as well, like about what we plan to do with money and things like that. And we'll talk a lot about that on that 24-hour stream about exactly what money is going to, how it's going to be spent. Because I don't know, I like it when telethons and things like that, or just people asking for donations. I like it when people are just open and honest about it because that makes me feel like I know where it's going, and it lets me know the impact that I'm having directly. I don't know, I just like that kind of thing.
And if you watch the clutch, there's always a chance that you're going to be winning some merch. I've been building some people personal libraries.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you have.
there are some people who've won like 5 books from me.
Yeah,
So, and not by me, but
yeah.
that I've been genuines.
Yeah, I've won,
Yeah,
and
and
he also sent me actual books, and that was amazing and awesome.
yeah, and we've given people a lot of times I go with the Kindle option, but if I've had a good month, somebody might be getting an autographed copy of something sent to them with special merch from the author.
Ooh la
So
la.
it, yeah, some people get special things,
Yeah,
and those are nice to like show off with. I think
it is.
it's fun to know that we're doing that for people too.
Yeah, I have an ultimate dream though. The ultimate dream is a trip in which as many of us possible gather. We get an RV and a driver, so none of us have to drive. Because fuck that. And we just do this little trip where we hit like a con or two, and we end up in this like really insane cabin in the woods scenario where we get to all go like ghost hunting and cryptid hunting together, and it's all on video. That's my plan. That's what I want to do to you, not for you guys, but to you guys. Speaking to you two directly, by the way.
I would love to.
I thought you meant to us guys, and I was like, thanks.
Oh,
But I just want to torment you guys because like I go on all these adventures and I talk to you guys about them all the time. But you guys have never been on one with me, and like that's gotta happen in some way. And it just has to happen. Hell, maybe one year I'll take off the haunt and we'll be big enough to just do a whole like horror tour. We'll go to cons, we'll go to haunted houses, we'll just do crazy stupid shit. That just sounds like
That'd
fun.
be fun. If you swing by here, there are the couple of haunted places we can take people through here. I can probably get us an inn at the Rococo to
Nice.
go back in and check all that out because I used to work there. And
Yeah.
I was actually speaking with somebody else the other night who has worked behind the scenes there as well, and for a different purpose. But they're doing pest control, and they said that there was a lot of fucked up shit. That it's a old theater, for those of you who aren't familiar, that was done up with all this great old marble work and chandeliers and like stage theater from the way back in the days, and then they turned it into a cinema and turned the back half of the stage into a bar. It's a very nice cocktail bar named Barrymore's. It's in the alley. And then the front, they put up this horrible like orange carpeting on the walls and just took off the chandeliers, moved it into a movie theater, And then finally somebody came back in with the money and restored it back to how it was before. And it's gorgeous. And it's a great place to see shows. And I worked there for years. Well, not for about a year or so. And then they kind of started doing more just events. So they weren't, we were trying to do a Bruin View for a while, and that just wasn't quite working out. But they were also doing big concerts and stuff, and they still do those. So we've gotten to go. That's where Raz and I went and got to see Henry Rollins together. But it is haunted. There, I can bring multiple people's stories about various things that have happened to them in both Barrymore's and in the Rococo. So
I had a strange
I've had
experience
things
there
flung at
actually
me.
too.
And,
I had a strange
yeah.
experience in one of the bathrooms over there. It's really. Well, I'll talk about it some other time. Like, what an issue where it's relevant to discuss it, I guess. But
Yeah.
like, you would prep me for like some of the history about it, but there's a lot of things you didn't tell me because I remember you saying you just wanted to see what I picked up on, and then we had that big conversation, like both during while we were there, me mentioning a couple things, but then afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a trip, man.
It's gorgeous, though. I'd
Oh,
had
yeah.
somebody that I was giving a tour of it to, somebody from Italy came in who was a marble worker and was checking out the pillars and all the different carved stuff or whatever. And he was like, this probably ranks in the top 10 of marble work that I've seen around the world. And so it was like, wow, that's cool to have in Lincoln, Nebraska. And to like, then I was able to always, like as I was giving other tours, I'd be like, and this I was told by this person from Italy. So, the
Fancy,
Italian
fancy.
marble workers. Fancy schmancy.
Oh, yeah.
And haunted as fuck.
I have some breaking news, and I'm gonna post a comment. I never do this. Like I don't think maybe one time in a show I put in a comment up, but like we just got for Hell's Dungeon our actual walkthrough video / review posted online like just a little bit ago. Like I guess I just got the information, but it got posted, and I definitely want to show some love to Rexstick and Rexstick Adventures for coming out and like hanging out with us for the evening and doing this big walkthrough. So if you want to know what I do and see what I've been working on, I mean, this is it. That's the link that'll take you to where everybody in the public can see the haunt that I work for. And in that particular
Yes.
day, that was my first day, like directing the show and kind of running around and moving actors. And there's a couple spots. We had a lot of call offs this weekend, but I think I have no idea what it's gonna look like because I don't watch the video. I'm not gonna watch it at all until we're out the air later. But definitely check it out, guys. Show some love to Hell's Dungeon and to Rexstick Adventures.
Yes.
I just got sent the link too. I'm so excited.
I will
Because Hell's
post it.
Dungeon does give back.
What'd you say, Jenny?
I will post it in all the places later. I've already posted his original video on Rusty Slasher's page to be airing sometime soon.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Oh, I'm so
obsessively
happy that you
looking to
have
see if
it out there.
Yeah, I'm obsessively looking to see if any of the other reviewers from Friday or Saturday have posted anything yet either. Maybe I missed everything.
It's all gone. It all gone.
Man.
So this has been good. I'm glad we got to spend this time because I was really not functioning well earlier today. It's just been a hellish week. And I'm so glad that we got to spend some time with you guys. Didn't really get a whole lot of interaction, but that's okay.
Don't
Because
require it.
hopefully watching us hang out and just be goofballs and be ourselves and stuff, give somebody, I don't know, something else to distract you from whatever you've got going on in life.
Oh yeah.
You're always
That's what we're
welcome to
here
comment. But yeah, the changing of the seasons, and we will be doing, of course, we'll have to have one of our campfires close. It'll be close to Halloween. Halloween is actually on a Tuesday this year,
Yeah.
and other things are planned. But one of our campfires will be then. And for those who don't know, because Halloween is the time of year when it's thin between the worlds of the living and the dead, traditionally it is not horror stories that are told on Halloween. Traditionally, it is families and traditions and things like that is what should be spoken of on Halloween. So it's Christmas, actually, when horror stories are traditionally told.
It's true.
Um, these are all things that you will also be learning on the art of storytelling when we put that up. But since we don't have that now, and since October is coming up pretty soon, I just wanted everybody to be aware. And we have been taking submissions too. People have been sending us in videos or audio samples of stories that they want to tell. So if you have any family stories or anything like that that you'd be wanting to share or to have us share, let us know. If you want to be on the show, if we have the room, you're more than welcome to be on, or send us a video or send us something and we can either read it for you or send us an audio clip and we'll play it for you. Because we all want to celebrate our families and like remember those who we've lost. It's a real helpful thing this time of year, and it's partially because we're going into the seasons where everybody's kind of getting sad, and so we want to, except for those of us who hate the sun. But
Yeah.
so UncleNecRo and I are thrilled that fall is setting in. But
Yeah.
make sure you have the strong good memories of the family to keep you happy and to make it worth going through all the, it's always like, oh my god, I have to go spend time with my family. Oh shit. For the holidays for a lot of people. But there are the good ones out there that you love spending time with. So
Yeah.
make sure you get the good memories in and then share them with us. So
Definitely.
I know I'm not hoping that your family dies so that you can I'm saying that for a reason. That's because Raz, the one time, screwed, like, we were having one of these shows that was more mental health check than most other things. And we were talking about suicide, and he just turns to me and trying to include me more in the show. Well, Dell has a lot to say about suicide. Just
Yeah.
like,
What I think we learned that day is to not be too quiet around me because I'm going to say something random and be like, over to you.
yeah. So, and I have awkward moments where I'm like, I'm so happy that there's so many people
Yeah.
on our mental health check days, and like
Yeah.
all this participation. We have 7 people that are super depressed,
Like, for
and
example,
us. Yay! Oh
humans
shit!
is
I didn't mean it that way. I just meant that
humans
I'm
is
glad we're
fertilizer.
interacting.
Over to you, Jenny.
Yes, so speaking of fertilizer, and many facilities are setting up these viewing areas where you can go visit your loved one as they are becoming they are decaying and becoming fertilizer, and you can actually take parts, you can get bags of the soil from where your loved one has uh, all the stuff has infiltrated it and made it more nutritious for the plants
Mhm.
around. And you can take that and put it in your own garden, and you have a piece of grandma that will grow and grow forever.
And then
And
you can grow crops with it and eat your grandparents.
yes, or they have these places where you can just you give your body to science, and they will basically let your body decay in the ground without a coffin, without
Oh yeah.
anything, and that will be their final resting place.
Mhm.
And they can plant a tree of your choice that goes along with that region in that area over the area where your loved one was.
Yep.
You did not expect that much information right off the top, did you?
No, actually I did because I know you know a lot about this because we've had conversations about this before. So I figured if I was going to throw you into a random subject that, in my whim, that it should at least be one that you're well versed on.
Yeah, that one I've actually been looking into a lot, and I've loved all the things I've seen because everybody's decided, yes, to get away from the toxins of being formaldehyde and everything, because that actually does give the technicians that use it at the funeral home cancer a lot of times. So yeah, I love the idea of not, yeah, there have been many who died of cancer because of that. I love the idea of moving away from formaldehyde and moving away from metal coffins and just being put in the ground, or a sky burial would be amazing, where you're just laid out and
Mhm.
animals can eat you, and you
Yeah.
become part of them and their continue lifespan.
If I can't get a sky burial, I want to be coated in epoxy. I think we've already talked about this before,
Yeah.
but you know, I love that. I I just grandma compost is coming to my head,
I,
and that's just like
he did it. He just threw it at me, and I just ran with it. Okay.
yeah. Well, as soon as you started mentioning where they just let you out to, it reminded me of the body farms where they
Yeah.
study forensically breakdown and how
Yeah.
they have to keep track of the bodies because killers will throw people in there, and
Yeah.
there'll
Oh yeah.
just be like a new body that
There was an episode of Bones that was about that forever, like back when that show was on the air.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I love that show.
Me too.
We start talking about body count and the number of viewers goes up. We're like, this is how you deal with dead things. Dun, dun, dun.
Murder,
You know,
death, destruction.
these people out there are like, my radar's going off. I must start watching them right now. Owlite is talking about death again. Yay!
They said Jimmy off
We
on a
don't
tangent
again.
about death. We should go see.
Join us soon for a brand new show about serial killers where we read everything we know directly from Wikipedia.
No, most of the stuff I've been getting are from the forensic shows about how they went through the case and what they found.
Yeah,
That
that
has been
stuff's really
family
cool, man.
time with my mother-in-law lately.
Oh yeah, love all the. Grandma was all about the true crime. That was.
Oh yeah, true crime, Murder She Wrote,
I love Murder, She Wrote.
Midsomer Murders.
I have to get a sound.
Murders. You need to watch it.
I need to get the soundbite for. Was there a murder? Or did somebody say murder?
Murder.
I love
That
that.
would be fun. Wait. Oh, I got it. It's the.
Love it.
So back to murdering people. Oh no, we weren't murdering people. We were just talking about how to dispose of them when they died. Inhumane fashions that help the earth. But we aren't
Yeah.
hippies. But you will see hippies murdered tomorrow if
Oh, yeah, that was an interesting movie.
Yeah, the
so
Tripper.
tomorrow on Tomb of the Terrible, we are reviewing The Tripper, which was supposed to be made as a statement on Reagan's politics, but instead is about hippies getting murdered in a logging camp by some guy who's wearing a Ronald Reagan mask.
Yep.
Thanks to Courtney Cox and David Arquette, we get that. And they even have a speech at the end. Yeah, it was
And his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, his brother.
David Arquette's brother, David Arquette's wife, some
Ex-wife.
other people. Well, at the time she was his wife.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Wasn't she? Yeah.
That's true.
I don't know. But yeah, it's something. It's called The Tripper. So if you'd like to watch it, go out and watch that, and you can catch us reviewing it tomorrow night because wow, do we do some things for you folks.
Yeah.
Just
our
in order
same
for you to not have to do it. We will watch things like that so
Yeah.
that you don't have to.
No,
But you can.
we're gonna choose the movie we watch in the following episode at the end of every episode now too. So you kind of get a little preview, and you'll have 2 weeks then at that point in time to watch the movie, to pop in and talk about it with us or whatever you'd like to do. I'm gonna tell you, I try to keep it small, like my contribution to the list. I figure if they ever get ran out, I'll add some new ones. But if we land on any more of the ones that I put up, like Rubber, for example, is one that I just tossed up. You guys are in for I don't know how to describe it. You're in for a really fucked up time, and mostly us that's watching the movie. You guys are in for a fucked up time because I've seen all these movies a million times. I've seen just about everything on all of our lists many times, but these in particular, I chose some real gems that I don't think anyone would ever recommend anyone watch for the most part, other than Rubber because it was just fucking awesome. But I've got things on there like Winter Beast, which goes from live action to claymation for no reason to save money on budget. And at one point in time, they just stopped making it because it was too ridiculous and they spent too much money. And then years later, they picked it up and said, "Let's finish it and put it out." And there's a lot of lore behind that movie we'll talk about if that one ever gets picked. But Monstered, where there's literally a were-turd, which is a spinoff from the Jack Frost horror films universe. So there's a lot of fun ones on there, man.
Yeah. I'm so not looking forward to some of these movies. I mean, some of them, yeah, are great, but we all have our, God, that was great. And everybody else is just like, seriously, you made me sit through that.
I saw
Why
Monstered
did you do
so
that?
like well over, like, I don't know, it was like right after it came out, so it was like probably 15 years or more ago or something. It was a long time ago, and since then I've only successfully gotten one or two people to watch it with me, and right after it was, yeah, we're never watching anything you pick again. And then everyone else just hears what Monstered is and they're like, yeah, no, yeah, we're not going to do that, but this time I'm going to make other people watch it eventually.
Eventually. We'll get there. I haven't figured out how to rig the wheel yet, so it has a chance.
Yeah.
It has a chance of popping up.
And if it's not the wheel, we'll just throw everything into a randomizer and go do it that way.
Yes, but we do it live so that you guys do actually get to see it, and then we repost the spinning of the wheel with a brief description of the movie afterwards, so that you don't have to watch the entire episode just to catch that part.
Yeah.
We don't want you going in blind. 'Cause
I do, but I'm a terrible human being, so, you know.
well, except for Jenny, we all are. So
Yeah.
I'm not. Oh, wow.
Jenny's the best of us. Yeah, definitely. And Matt when he's around, I have to say.
yeah, the rest of us are just we scare people. Anyway,
Bailey.
we have been going on. We're going on 2 hours here, and I love that we have some folks still watching. But
Another one.
and I think I need to take off because I've been having screen problems. If anybody wants to give me some suggestions on if they've tried, I have regular glasses and I don't want to get bifocal. They told me I could get bifocals that have a blue screen filter or whatever in them, but I don't want to switch to bifocals. If anybody out there knows about like if there's something I can put over my glasses and they can suggest a good one that isn't going to like just fall apart or something like that, so that I can see more screens, because I write, I edit, I make graphics for this stuff, I do these things, and then I have
Research.
whites 90% of the time. Yeah. And I need the dark themed things as much as possible, and then I have to change everything that I can't do into something, and I need something to help my eyes. So if you can come up with something, I've been getting ocular migraines on the regs pretty much daily lately. So that's another reason why, so I can still see to hit the end stream button, that I think we're going to be needing to go pretty soon. But if you have any ideas, please make them in the show notes, send them to me. Just send them to the Owlite podcast. Jenny will let me know that they're there.
I'll share them with them. And I just reposted the Spin and UncleNecRo's explanation of what the movie is on Instagram and Facebook for you guys to find.
Scavenger hunt.
Yay. Okay, so getting ready to pop on out here. Raz, where can we find you?
RazCslasher.com, or just type my name into a search engine, and every possible social media that comes up, Jenny's got me on. And but if you message me, you're talking to her. Just let me know now. You're talking.
Forward the message to him, unless it's like something like, can I please get the link to or whatever. I will give you that as soon as I see it. But if
Or
it's
maybe
like
she'll
something
just
else,
respond as me and send you really crazy ass messages that I'll never know about until one day in public you meet me and you come up to me and you're like, "Hey, do you remember that time?" And I'll just have to pretend I do. So that'd be a fun exercise. You should do that to me because I would find that totally hilarious.
yes, you'll learn about the story about the boat and the tree and how you cannot paddle like John Wayne in real life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I expect you to do this to me now, Jenny. I fully expect this. I'm
I
not going
will
to check my
start
messages at all for the next 3 months just to give you plenty of opportunities.
with the first message.
And I can't wait till it's someone that I know, like in town, that does that. You do it too. So that's gonna make me laugh even harder.
She's got an affair going on with your wife, things like that. Just
Oh yes, we befriended on Facebook. I'll send her some lovely pictures later.
There you go. She'll appreciate it.
so for me, this host body has the name of Carrie, Kari Sanders. You can look her up on Facebook. If you see the crow, you know it's me. And all of my other social medias are listed under my Facebook page. Jenny's in control of most of them. So you will speak to her through me as well if you go to my author page or my Delphine page personally.
Dude, she's got some
And
lore building opportunity here. Like, what if they message me? But then she sends them to message you, and like we have full conversations with them without us knowing about it, and like then there's this whole story in the world evolving about who we are, and then someone writes like a biography on the whole situation.
wow.
My brain went really far with that, but I don't know. There's worlds within worlds, like
That could be
happening.
fun. She just has to keep the train. Like, who said what, where, when? Okay.
But then she's gonna like message me as you,
Make
and
group
then you as me,
chats.
and have conversations with herself, and then that's
Okay,
brilliant.
I used to do that a lot.
That's like meta
Actually.
RP there. That's like because she knows us so well. That's like some super freaking meta RP.
When I was a hardcore gamer, I would have up to 6 characters online at the same time,
Yeah.
and I would be holding conversations with myself
Oh yeah.
in world
I've done it.
chats, and it was super fun.
I've done it.
But
Even on AOL, I did it. Like during the AOL RP days, I used to do that.
But the other place you can find me when I'm not on Owlite is over at the Dorkening Network. I am usually on Tuesdays on Splash Pages and Wednesdays when we get enough people showing up for the Midweek Geeks.
Yeah.
And Jenny, take it away. Since you're all of us.
Hi, I'm Jenny Elliott and Friday Blue. You can find me under Friday of the Blue Box on Facebook. You can find me under Friday Blues Disorganized Library on Facebook, which is my group. Fake Horror, Rasty Slasher, Carrie and Delphine, and in random other places like Corpse Garden Chronicles. And please message, read everybody's stuff, and please check out our new books coming out. I would so appreciate it.
And alternately, if you hear heavy breathing by your window at night, just say hello. That was well timed. That was well timed.
All right.
Picture of you telling people you look so different when you're asleep.
And on that note, everyone, we love you. Thank you for showing up.
Don't forget to spay and neuter your friends.
Have a good time going into fall, and we will see you again soon. Good night.
Later.